Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel. My name is Jack and this is your latest Manchester United news on, what day is today? Wednesday morning. And some big talking points in relation to Manchester United and the future of some players that are out on loan. As you can see by the title of the video, Jadon Sancho and the possibility of him getting a second chance at Manchester United, with some key figures coming in the background. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk as well, guys, a little bit about the manager's job and who could potentially get it, with some names being put forward. Obviously, we've heard the majority of these names before, but more reports coming out about it, so we'll talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit about Anthony and his future at Manchester United as well. How is it going to plan out in the summer for him? And then Ben Jacobs has been speaking about a potential second striker coming into Manchester United in the summer, and who's that going to be? So we'll obviously talk about that as well. But as always, guys, please do smash a like on the video, hit subscribe if you are new to the channel, and get your comments into the live chat as well. And if you're watching this back at a later date, pop your comments in below as usual, and I like to respond to as many of them as I possibly can. But look, anyway, guys, we're going to start with, obviously, Jadon Sancho. Now, look, we've seen last night Dortmund are after getting into the Champions League semi-final, and two former Manchester United, well, I suppose former Manchester United player in Marcel Sabitzer, who was on loan last year, and of course Jadon Sancho, who's on loan with Dortmund at the moment, playing, I won't say a pivotal role. I think Jadon Sancho, looking at it last night, didn't do anything outstanding. I thought Sabitzer played very well in the middle of the field for Dortmund and got a goal as well, so congratulations to him. But some of the reports coming out today, guys, are suggesting that incoming Manchester United technical director Jason Wixcox is understood to be more open to giving Jadon Sancho another chance at the club. Now, look, we spoke about this only, was it yesterday or the day before? And, we see these types of reports coming out every time, either Jadon Sancho does something good or Manchester United are in a little bit of disarray with the manager, Erik ten Hag specifically, being under pressure, or is he going to lose his job, and so on and so forth. So I'm not reading into these reports too much. Is there a possibility of Jadon Sancho coming back in the summer? Absolutely there is, because I do think Manchester United's top priority is to get rid of him. And, reports here suggesting as well from Peter Hall saying that it is believed selling Jadon Sancho is still Manchester United's first choice and first option. And, ideally they do want to get rid of him. Now, like I said, is there a possibility of United maybe taking Jadon Sancho back off, and him being reintegrated into the squad next season? Absolutely there is. I think there is 100%. I think the main reason that would happen would be if Erik ten Hag leaves in the summer. I think Erik ten Hag will be quite adamant, if he stays on as manager next year, that Jadon Sancho not be involved in the Manchester United squad, and rightly so, if you ask me. I think he's burnt his bridges with not just Erik ten Hag, but with Manchester United and the Manchester United fan base. He's been very unprofessional. He's basically given us no return on the price that we've paid for him. So, people who watch my channel an awful lot will understand and will know my opinion on Jadon Sancho. I don't think he should be ever involved in the Manchester United squad ever again. But I think there is a strong possibility that he is involved in United next season, because if Erik ten Hag is let go, then that may be the case. Now, I think even if Erik ten Hag is kept on, like I said, I don't think that would be the case that we'd see Sancho coming back. But a lot depends on where we can actually offload Jadon Sancho. I think Manchester United don't want to loan him out again. I think all that does is maybe decrease his value, because, he's getting less and less time remaining on his contract. I'd like to know actually when his contract is up. Let me just have a quick check, because his contract is... Let me see. Contract expiring in 2024, it says. I would doubt that. I can't get a date on it. I presume he's got a couple of years left on it. Let me just see. Jadon Sancho contract. La 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 la. 5 years. He signed a 5-year deal. So that would bring him up to 2027. Is it 26, 27? So yeah, I mean, he's got at least a couple of years left on his contract. And, like I said, Manchester United loaning him out for another season next year, I think is something they probably won't want to do. They want to get him off the books. And I think more than anything else, we want to get Jadon Sancho sold because it generates revenue to reinvest back into the squad. We know how tight everything is at the moment with FFP, and we need to clear that squad out more than anything else. Jadon Sancho is not a player that's going to get you back to winning Premier Leagues. I don't care if Jason Wilcox, Dan Ashworth and Omar Barada come back in and say he should be involved. I'll stand on the hill of saying that Jadon Sancho will not be the player that gets you back to winning Premier League titles. He's not going to come out and score 15, 20 goals in a season, and be unbelievable. He hasn't. I think he's done it in one season at Dortmund. He's gone back to Dortmund this season, done very little, to be quite honest. So a lot depends on it. A lot depends on it. However, if Manchester United decide that they want to sell him in the summer and they put a price tag on his head, and let's say, for example, Saudi Arabia come in for him, or a team over there, and they're the only ones that would be willing to pay, maybe if United are looking for, I don't know, 40 to 50 million, for example, Jadon Sancho could just say, I'm not going to Saudi Arabia. I do not want to play in Saudi Arabia. Absolutely no way. And then United are stuck with him. Do we try and loan him out again? Do we just say, all right, we're going to have to try and reintegrate him into the squad? Because we know that he's not going to get the same kind of salary anywhere else in Europe than he's getting at United. I think his weekly salary is around, it's around 260, 270,000 pounds a week, I think. So he's not going to get that at Dortmund, and he's not going to go to a top team in Europe that would give, if you're going to another team that would give you money like that, you're talking your Real Madrids or your Man Cities or your, maybe your Bayern Munichs or Juventuses, things like that. They're not going to be looking for Jadon Sancho. So Jadon Sancho is going to be going to, like we said, a Dortmund. He might go maybe to an Atletico Madrid, or, he might go to a Napoli maybe, or a PSG even. PSG might give him that kind of money. So yeah, I think his options are limited, and I think that's a bad thing for United, because it means it makes it harder to get him off the books later on down the line. But like we said, it does look like the top priority for Manchester United. Top priority for Manchester United should be to sell Jadon Sancho in the summer. It should be. He's burnt his bridges with the manager, the fans, and the club now, being completely unprofessional. And he's gone to Dortmund, done very little. And opposition fans will say, oh, he's in the Champions League semi-final, though. It doesn't matter, Congratulations to him, and well done on Dortmund getting to a Champions League semi-final. But United's priority should not change, regardless of whether Jason Wilcox wants to keep Sancho in the summer and reintegrate him into the squad. I don't think fans would like it. I don't think it's the right thing for the club. I don't think it's the right image for the club when you see players coming out and disrespecting the manager and bringing the club into disrepute. They should not be allowed to play for the club again. It's as simple as that. And I think Jadon Sancho's fallout with the manager was on such a public stage and to such an extent that he should never play for United ever again. And United should cash in the summer, sell him, get as much money as you can for him, and reinvest that money into the squad, into getting players into the team that, with the right mentality and that actually want to play for Manchester United. And that should be the priority. Let's see what people are saying. Danny says, I don't want Jadon Sancho back at United. He's had problems at every club he's been at. He's a bad egg. Like Rashford, he should be sold, and the money we get from him to be used to rebuild the squad. There we go. And I don't disagree with you, Danny. I think there's a number of different players there now at the moment that we need to sell, and for the main reason to generate revenue to reinvest into the squad. And for different reasons, like I wouldn't put Jadon Sancho in the same category as Harry Maguire, because Harry Maguire is an absolutely top-notch professional. He's not a top-notch player, top-notch professional, however. And I think that is still, I think they should fall into the same category of selling them in the summer, because we need to generate revenue. And, that's the reason why. But, again, I wouldn't be putting the likes of... sorry, just give me 1 second. just want to close the door there. I wouldn't be putting Jadon Sancho and Harry Maguire into the one category, because one has been really, really professional and the other has been not professional at all. So yeah, you can probably hear the dog in the background. He fucking drives me nuts when someone calls to the door. Yeah, you don't get these on every United fan channel. But guys, I do want to move it on. And I want to talk a little bit about Erik ten Hag and the future of the Manchester United managerial position. Now, we do know, of course, that Erik ten Hag's future is not set in stone at United. And, you know, we could potentially have a new manager at the start of next season. You all know my take on it. I want Ten Hag to be manager next year. I want him to continue on. And just give me 1 second, lads. Just give me 1 second. Fucking dog bite. So yeah, Erik ten Hag, we know his future is not set in stone, and he's got some work to do. He's got some work to do. You know, look, we've mentioned that, you know, whether Ineos change the manager or not is up to them. I said yesterday that I would prefer if we change. I don't want the manager to change, but if Ineos have their mind set on changing Erik ten Hag, I would prefer they do it now rather than at the end of the season, because you would get the jump on the likes of Liverpool, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, who are all going to be looking for new managers in the summer as well. But we've heard, again, some reports coming out in the past few hours over the course of yesterday evening and this morning about some potential replacements. Now, Rich Fay has been talking about, he says, Graham Potter and Roberto De Zerbi are understood to be the current front runners for the Manchester United job should it become available. It is understood Ineos also admire Julian Nagelsmann, but he looks poised to return to Bayern Munich. Now, look, I mean, we talk about the news here, and we talk about the stories that are coming out around Manchester United. And I always say this, take everything with a pinch of salt as a Manchester United fan when some of these reports come out. Because, look, Rich Fay can come out and, look, he's a Manchester United reporter for National World, and he can come out and say whatever he likes about, you know, Graham Potter and Roberto De Zerbi are understood to be the front runners. But the main point of this, or the main part of this sentence that we need to take into consideration is this: should it become available? All of these reporters are speculating. They're speculating. We don't know if Erik ten Hag is going to be sacked at the end of the season or not. And I'm sure, you know, some parts of these reports can be taken seriously, because I think it would be naive of us to think that Ineos are not preparing more than one scenario when it comes to the managerial position at the end of the season. I'm sure they're planning, and we know they are planning for next season with Erik ten Hag, because he's been heavily involved in the planning of pre-season in terms of, you know, identifying targets for the transfer window. But that can all change very, very quickly. And I'm sure if Dave Brailsford and Jim Radcliffe and whoever else is working with Erik ten Hag on the preparation for next season, I'm sure when Erik ten Hag is not in the room, they're also preparing, you know, the option of not having him there next season. And it would be naive of them not to do that. And that's okay. I have no problem with that. Like I said, I want Erik ten Hag to be the manager. Do any of these managers, you know, excite me? No, they don't. Who would I like out of them three specifically? I would probably go with De Zerbi, to be honest with you. But none of them really stand out for me. I would rather keep Erik ten Hag. He's had 2 years in the job now. One very successful season and one very poor season. And I think it would be more beneficial for United to allow him one more season there and see what he can do under the Ineos structure than it would be to rip it all up and start again. You know, there's too many players there that need moving on. And I think changing the manager now you would just be getting rid of 2 years of work of Ten Hag. Look, we've seen him getting rid of Sancho. We've seen him getting rid of Ronaldo. We've seen him dealing with the Mason Greenwood situation, which is now, look like it's going to end in the summer when he moves on. He had the captaincy issue where he took it from Harry Maguire, gave it to Bruno Fernandes. We've seen a number of different things that Erik Ten Hag has had to deal with, and I think he's dealt with them all relatively well. So, when we were talking just previously there about Jadon Sancho potentially coming back in the summer, which nobody wants, if you bring in a new manager, let's say De Zerbi comes in and he goes, no, I'm going to see what Jadon Sancho is all about, or I'm going to give Rashford another season, or I'm going to give Maguire another season to see what he's all about, or maybe McTominay. We're literally setting ourselves 2 years back, where Ten Hag has worked with them players for 2 years and go, I know what you're all about. And it is time to move you on. It's time to sell you. Where a new manager is coming in and going, yeah, well, I'm new here. I'm going to give them maybe an opportunity. And then United fans are pulling their hair out, going, we're starting from scratch again. So I think with the names of managers that we're being linked with, I think it's probably more beneficial if we keep Erik Ten Hag for another season. Let him clear out the players that he knows are not good enough to play for Man United because he's had 2 years with them. And then if it doesn't work out next season, then we can move him on. And at the very least, we'll have a better squad for it. So I think that's probably the best scenario for everybody involved. Well, let me think. Let me know what you think. Denikin says, hey, Jack, I'm late. Much like Sancho. What did I miss? Not much, man. Not much. We're just talking about Sancho. Danny says, Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos are taking too long to make up their minds on Erik Ten Hag, which will bite them in the ass if they do decide to sack him, with so many clubs looking for a new manager. Well, I think there are two sides to the coin there, Danny. I think it could be quite naive from Ineos to go and sack Erik Ten Hag before the end of the season. I mean, it looks like he is going to get us into another FA Cup final, and that will be 3 cup finals in 2 seasons. That's not a bad return. So I think sacking him, if they were to come out now and say he won't be the manager at the end of the season, players are going to, does it mean that it would hamper our chances of winning a trophy? That remains to be seen. I don't know. I think Ineos we know Ineos have been doing a complete overhaul and a complete review of the club since they've taken over, and they said that it is going to take a few months, and I think we will find out once the season ends what their plans are. And I mean, look, as Manchester United fans, we just have to go with the flow and see what happens. I mean, do you ever hear Man City coming out every season and going, these are our plans for the summer transfer window and these are our plans for the manager and so on? No, you don't. We're going to get, linked with probably every player in world football in the summer, but we just have to go with the flow, because I think Ineos are keeping their cards close to their chest, and rightly so. I think rightly so. I think them coming out and giving the whole world a rundown on what they plan to do, and if it doesn't succeed, then they've got egg on their face. So look, let's see what happens. Moving it on, guys, I want to talk a little bit about transfers, and specifically about outgoings at the moment. And there has been, of course, reports around Antony's future and his potential departure from Manchester United in the summer. Now, reports today have suggested Manchester United are keen to sell Antony this summer. They have yet to receive any interest in the winger Antony, but are keen to sell him in the summer. Paid a whopping 86 million for the Brazilian in 2022, but are already preparing to part ways with their second most expensive signing of all time. Let's see. He's not scored a Premier League goal in over a year and has a meagre 2 goals and 2 assists in 33 games this season. He's also found himself at the centre of the controversy, which we all know about. As a report, it has been reported United are keen to rid themselves of the Brazilian and bring in Crystal Palace's Michael Elise as a replacement. Rudy Galletti has reiterated this news. The Sport Italia journalist reported United would like to part ways with him in the summer to repay in part the investment and to lighten team salaries. He claims that to date there has been no approaches for Antony, but the club hope things will change in the coming weeks. Now look, I don't think there are too many Manchester United fans that have got much allegiances towards Anthony. It hasn't worked for him at Manchester United. It's been, the fact that he's been our second most expensive signing. The second most expensive signing is not criticism on Erik ten Hag. That's criticism on the board dealing with Ajax over less than 2 years ago. But criticism does have to fall at the feet of Erik ten Hag in relation to wanting to sign Anthony in the first place. Now, would the criticism still be the same if the board had done the right thing and signed him early in the transfer window 2 summers ago, and we would have got him for about 35-40 million? I don't think we would have seen half as much criticism. But the board have to take that, and Manchester United have to take that. He is our second most expensive signing in history, and what has he done? He's scored a goal against Bayern Munich, against Barcelona in the Europa League, and I think that's pretty much it. So, look, I do understand that. I would have liked it to work for Anthony at Manchester United, but we have heard as well in the past, specifically when Omar Barada was coming in as the new CEO, that the way he likes to work is players get 2 years, regardless of your price tag. You get 2 years to prove yourself. And if you don't prove yourself in 2 years, you're moved on, because we have to look at recouping some of the money that we pay for you. And Manchester United over the last 10 years have allowed too many players to leave on free transfers and run down their contract. Now, there are a number of different reasons for that. First and foremost is that we've paid players too much. They're on very, very lucrative wages, lucrative salaries, lucrative deals, and they're well within their rights not wanting to leave. We've seen Harry Maguire do it, and Scott McTominay do it last summer, and the majority of players that leave Manchester United are not going to get higher wages wherever they go, So it is going to be difficult to get them off the books. But I do think that when you're looking at the amount of money United tend to play for players, you do have to have some kind of cut-off date to say, right, it's time to sell now. We need to get some return on what we've paid for you. Whether, that be because you're not good enough, or whether it be because you're coming into an age category now where, maybe you're past your best and it's time for us to sell you on before your market value decreases too much. That's what needs to be done. And it's good to see these kind of decisions being made now. And I hope they're made an awful lot more, because we need to get a lot of players off our books in the summer. If you look at it, just run down quickly through the team. I think Wan-Bissaka needs to go. Lindelof needs to go. Maguire needs to go. Varane needs to go. Casemiro needs to go. Eriksen needs to go. Rashford needs to go. Martial needs to go. Sancho needs to go. Greenwood needs to go. Donny van de Beek needs to go. That's 11 players straight away that you're talking about. We need to go, and we need to get rid of them. Some of them will be going on a free by the looks of it, the likes of Varane, of course, Anthony Martial. But some of them you just need to get as much money for as you can so we can reinvest that. So, look, the likes of Anthony being moved on, I think, is a smart move in the summer. But again, we do need to replace him. And the fact that United are being linked with the likes of Michael Elise, I think he would be a massive upgrade on Anthony, because he's proven in the Premier League. He's scoring goals and getting assists for Crystal Palace. Now, if he can do it for Crystal Palace, you would hope he can do it for Manchester United as well. So, let's see what happens. But I do think that right side of midfield, is an area that we can look at improving in the summer. Anthony is, by the looks of these reports, is going to be moved on. If we can find a suitor for him, we will take a massive hit on Anthony in terms of what we paid for him. Paid way too much money for him. But bringing in the likes of a Michael Elise, who Manchester United are heavily linked with, like I said, Premier League proven, assists and goals for Crystal Palace. You would hope he can do that for Manchester United as well. 2 years for Anthony, hasn't done it. Time to cut your ties with him. Get as much money as you can in the door for him, and bring in an upgrade in the likes of Michael Elise or somebody on that right-hand side. That right-hand side is an area that we do need to improve on in the summer. So let's hope we can get rid of Anthony, get some money in the door for him, and improve with the likes of a Michael Elise, because I think it will vastly improve that right side of Manchester United's wing. Yeah. Let's see what people are saying here. Danny says Rashford should be sold. He's been poor all season. Plus, he's a bad egg. But asking for £100 million for him is United wanting to keep him. He's not consistent enough to be close to world class. Well, I think, asking for £100 million more than anything, Danny, is Manchester United going, that's our starting point. We'll look to probably come down from that. So, I think United would probably settle at maybe 80, 85 million if someone was willing to offer that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Finally, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about a striker. Now, Ben Jacobs has been talking about a potential second striker coming in for Manchester United in the summer. We know it's an area that United need to invest in this summer's transfer window. And Ben Jacobs has been suggesting that Manchester United will be moving for €50 million rated Bundesliga star Benjamin Sesko. We are expected to be in conversation for RB Leipzig striker Sesko, according to, of course, like we mentioned, Ben Jacobs. The Red Devils currently have Rasmus Højlund as their main striker, but they need a quality competitor alongside him next season, with Anthony Martial set to leave the club. United search for a potential successor, and speaking to the United Stand, Jacobs expects the Red Devils to be in the running to sign Sesko. There's a feeling within Manchester United that Rasmus will better his tally next season. I'd expect United to be in the conversation for Sesko. Martial is leaving. Mason Greenwood is expected to go as well. Look, I think the profile of player, Benjamin Sesko to Manchester United for €50 million is a very, very good deal. And it's the type of deal that Manchester United need to be looking at in the summer. We can't be going out and spending 80, 90 million on players when we need so many signings in a quick period of time. So getting someone like Benjamin Sesko, who fits a very good profile in terms of his age, in terms of his quality, and in terms of his price tag, to come in alongside Rasmus Højlund and share the workload with him, I think is the type of deal that we need to get done in the summer. And I think it's one that would benefit United greatly. If we go out and sign a striker like, for example, Victor Osimhen for 120 million, he's going to want to play every single game next season. I think that would stunt Rasmus Højlund's growth. If you're bringing in someone of a similar age bracket to Højlund and a similar profile, I think equally they can grow together and share the workload of being Manchester United's striker. And I think somebody like that they could play alongside each other, depending on the type of formation you want to play. So I think it's a good idea that we're going for the likes of Benjamin Sesko, and I think it's one that would, absolutely benefit Manchester United in the type of player we need to sign in the summer, 100%. So yeah, and we need another striker more than anything else. We need another striker, and look, I really do like Rasmus Højlund. I think he's going to be a brilliant player for United in the future. He's had a difficult first season, absolutely he has. Started very slow, had a good spell in the middle of the season, and now is struggling to score goals again. Look, we know he's been struggling for service. He hasn't been getting the service he needs. So I think not only do we need to look at helping him in terms of getting a second striker in, we also need to be looking at helping him in terms of structuring the team that can allow service to Rasmus Højlund. And I think that's just as important as bringing a second striker in as well. But guys, look, we're going to leave it there. Please do smash a like on the video if you haven't done so already. Hit the subscribe button as well if you are new to the channel. Like I said, you can become an official channel member as well, get some extra content, all the goodies. Link is in the description. Go check out the options there as well. Check out our merchandise as well for anybody that hasn't done so already. A few people have been supporting the channel and getting their merch in over the last few days as well, which is great to see. I really do appreciate the support, and we've got some really cool designs there as well, so go check them out. I'll be back tonight as well, guys, from 8 o'clock for our evening news show. We'll be talking about everything in depth as we do always. But thanks for watching. Hope you have a good day, and I hope to see you tonight at 8 p.m. But until then, have a great day. See you soon.